What's going on, GBA universe? This is TheUzigunner here, subbing in for both Dom and Polymac for this episode of Top Plays. Unfortunately, due to both of them dealing with serious matters in real life, neither of them could make it here today. And as a result, I am here, and I am not alone, because joining me for this episode is everybody's favorite analyst, Strompfel.
You're so kind. Hello everyone, hope you're having a fantastic day so far. Welcome back to Top Plays. It doesn't really sound the same without saying the Waiver Wire show, but it's something at least. Yes, people might think that I'm dead, but I'm definitely not. I just had to take a time out, but you know, I can always come back for my man TheUzigunner, who needs a bit of help with deciding the top plays, right?
Hell yeah.
Alright, so without further ado, let's move right along to the top plays from Week 8 of the GBA Season 8. Kicking off the list is a highlight from the Montreal Habsals versus the Kansas City Jirachiefs match. After a slow-paced match when the two teams faced off against each other in the D-League, this time Jolt was out for revenge. One of his main ways of putting on pressure on Aster J was to get off the stealth rush, which he tried to accomplish with his seismitoad. And he succeeded multiple times to get off the stealth rocks, but Aster's fortress managed to spin them away each time. After a few stalemate turns, Jolt puts on his big boy pants and tries to go for a manly play, predicting Aster to switch out, which end up backfiring horribly since Fortress goes for the Whether or not this play was an accident or the best read of 2018, I can't really say that for a fact, but what I can say is that keeping off the rocks off the field allows Aster to play more freely and win the battle 1-0 versus Jolt and ending his win streak.
Next up, we got John aka Pokemon making it to this edition of Top Plays. This is mainly due to how well he's been able to counter prep Crimson in his build by having his Rocky Helmet as Cavalier be his lead, catching Crimson red-handed as he leads off with his Mega Beedrill. Having no choice but to U-turn out, Mega Beedrill does just that, helping John's plan come into full motion as he's able to pursue Trap at turn 1, and thanks to the Rocky Helmet damage as well, Mega Beedrill gets weakened to the point of no return, thwarting Crimson's plans entirely. Things don't end here though, as Crimson attempts to set up with his Calm Mind Cofagrigus, which was a very huge threat to John's team as well. Being fully aware of how weak his team could potentially be to such a set, John has the perfect countermeasure in Sub-Acid Spray Tentacruel, which he's able to easily pull out by scaring out the Jirachi, and once it's managed to get behind a substitute on the Cofag switch-in, that essentially sealed the deal, as Crimson's Trick Room Calm Mind Cofagrigus is not going to be able to 1v1 it due to Tenta's naturally great Spadef, and after an Acid Spray and into spamming Scalds along with a Burn, Crimson's gonna give up on trying to preserve this thing and eventually just ends up giving it up, which helped John take down the two biggest threats to his team. It certainly was solid prep shown at full display, which is why he's here at number 4.
Next up is a play from the San Diego Team Chargers versus the Victorian Shadows game, where Envy really showed the GBA how shit-talking his favorite defogger will come back to bite you. After a successful switching in on a Araconid trying to Toxicate, Empoleon starts to dance with some swords. After its steel typing gets removed by Soak, Empoleon whips out the surprising Drill Peck, OHKOing the living shit out of the Spider and puts Necro in a very bad position. Without the steel typing, Empoleon actually is able to survive the Earthquake from a Diggersby, putting it in range of Torrent, which will be important later on. By gradually chipping down Necro's team, Empoleon later comes back in and the Torrent boosted Aquajet gets a little mini sweep there in the end. Envy's brilliant usage of Empoleon gives the San Diego Team Chargers a 3-0 win versus the Victorian Shadows and the number 3 spot on this list.
Coming in at number 2, we got Joey and the Bronx Beartics against Wolfie and the Milwaukee Bewares. Now for this one, there really isn't a specific play but rather a series of plays which involve Joey very adequately using a strategy which involves identifying that Wolfie has absolutely no hazard remover, which would make him inclined to get spikes up with his Asolgor as soon as possible, whilst making sure that Wolfie's Trick Room strategies with his Jellicent never really reach its maximum capabilities by always forcing him into a situation where if he does end up switching out with it, he's gonna end up being a very weak Jellicent that won't necessarily be able to take any hits from later on and be able to set up future Trick Rooms especially thanks to Aselgor being able to toxic it early on in the game. Eventually, Joey forces in the Entei, which gives him a very free switch into his Rhydon, enabling him to leniently set up rocks. This essentially contributed towards being the nail in the coffin, as due to Jellicent being toxic, not much could be done, as Heracross does end up breaking the remainder of Wolfie's teams, before eventually sacking off the right mons to kill off Wolfie's Trick Room for good and have his Zygarde do the rest. It certainly was a perfect game plan, executed with little to no error whatsoever, and that's why he has earned the number 2 spot on top place.
And the number 1 play from week 8 of the GBA goes to Gym Leader Geo, who found a brilliant solution when he almost fucked up again. After Tom's Landorus doubles its speed with a rock polish, Geo, for the second time of the season, immediately thinks that the genie problem will be solved by his little blue friend Ditto. Halfway through his plan, he realizes that Landorus had shown Fly and Earthquake as its offensive moves, which means that the Ditto will not be able to touch the Landorus due to the speed mechanics of Fly. In order for Geo to solve this problem, he still goes into the Ditto to get the Intimidate attack drop on his opponent and forces Tom to click Fly. Geo then sacks off his Ancient Bird in order to get a free switch in into his Haxorus, which will be able to take the hit from the Landorus due to the Intimidate attack drop and go for the Z move. This series of plays is our number 1 pick for the battles that was played in week 8, since Geo did not fall for the genie the second time, shoutouts to the Tornadus, and managed to carefully play it around it, winning him the week versus the San Jose Sharpedos.
Thank you very much for watching, and if there are any top plays that y'all think we may have missed, feel free to let us know in the comment section down below. Sorry if you couldn't do it as well as Dom and Polly, but rest assured, they'll hopefully be back by next week. So please do wish them all the best, and with that, I'm your host TheUzigunner.
And I am the Swedish Bill Standish, and we'll see all of you at the same time next week. Goodbye.